Hi, Peter Salemi, and welcome to the fourth installment of this video series. We're talking about the four beasts of Daniel, the 7th chapter. Now, last time we found that the four-headed leopard that we found in Daniel 7 represented the Greco-Macedonian Empire. Then before that, the bear, which represented the Persian Empire. Then before that, the lion, which represented the Babylonian Empire. We also discovered that in Daniel 2, the great image in the plain that Nebuchadnezzar had a dream of this great image in the plain, and he saw a head of gold, chest and arms of silver, torso of brass, legs of iron, and then the feet iron with potter's clay and then miry clay. Now we found out that the head of gold, because Daniel said to Nebuchadnezzar, "You are this head of gold," and this corresponded to the lion in Daniel the 7th chapter. Then we see the chest and arms of silver, and the chest of arms and silver represented the Medo-Persian Empire, and of course that corresponded with the bear of Daniel 7. Then we get to the torso of brass in Daniel 2, and that corresponded with the four-headed leopard that we found in Daniel the 7th chapter. Now the four heads, we understand now when we look at history and Bible prophecy, the four heads represented the split of the Greco-Macedonian Empire. Cassander took over Greece, Lysimachus took over Central Asia, Seleucus took over Syria, and the Ptolemies took over Egypt, and that represented the four heads of the leopard. All right, now we get down to the legs of iron of Daniel 2. Now, do these legs of iron correspond to the fourth beast of Daniel, the 7th chapter? I'm going to show you this clip of the vision that the prophet Daniel saw of this great beast coming out of the sea. Take a look at this clip.
After this I saw in the night a vision, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. It had huge iron teeth. It was devouring, breaking in pieces, and trampling the residue with its teeth. It was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
All right, so there's the vision that Daniel saw, this indescribable beast, and it had iron teeth. So obviously, it corresponds to the legs of iron that we see in Daniel, the 2nd chapter. And it says in verse 23 that this fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom. It'll take over from the third beast, which is the Greco-Macedonian Empire. Now, what empire took over from the Greeks and absorbed the Greco-Macedonian Empire? Because it says here, it devoured and brake in pieces. It absorbed the Greco-Macedonian Empire. Well, none other, when you look into history, none other than the Roman Empire. And we also see in Daniel, the 11th chapter, verse 30, it talks about the ships of Kittim, and all biblical commentaries will tell you that is the Roman Empire shall come against him, talking about Antiochus Epiphanes. And so we see the four divisions of the Greco-Macedonian Empire we see in history was taken over by the Roman Empire. It says here the fourth beast is dreadful and terrible, strong exceedingly. Perfect description of the Roman Empire and how they handled their enemies. I mean, you look at the Punic Wars and what they did to Carthage. They were strong exceedingly. And it says they had great iron teeth. Now, of course, the metal, iron represents strength and toughness. It represented, for Rome, its military might, its generals, such as Scipio, Pompey, Julius Caesar, and others, which crushed and devoured all that came in their way. That's from Gill's commentary. It also says here, Rome was known for its use of iron weapons, which gave it an edge over its enemies, stamping on its enemies with feet that had brass claws, perhaps a reference to its tendency to completely destroy an opposition by smashing it totally. Of course, that's exactly what happened in history when Rome went up against its enemies. So clearly, the fourth beast, this indescribable beast, is the Roman Empire. Now when I come back, I'm going to show you how all 4 beasts of Daniel 7 fit with the prophecy of Revelation, the 13th chapter. But before we get on with that, I want to offer you this booklet, What is the Beast of Revelation? All you have to do is log on to our website, britishisrael.ca, and you can order it directly from there. But I'll also put the link in the description below, and you can order it directly from the link that I will provide for you in the video description. Take a look at this, and I'll be right back.
The mighty Roman Empire had everything. Plenty of leisure time. Their own new morality. Enormous military might. The religion of their choice. Political freedom. What went wrong? Read The Modern Romans, a 93-page lesson of history ignored. The Modern Romans asks, can we afford the grandeur of Rome?
All right, now how do these 4 beasts fit in with the prophecy of Revelation, the 13th chapter? We must remember that John was given a little book. Now, I did a video on the little book that you could take a look at on our YouTube channel, and we find that John was given a little book, and this little book had prophecies. And this little book we find is the book of Daniel that he ate, symbolically, he ate, and then he was told to prophesy again to many tongues, kings, nations, and peoples. And when he ate that little book, we find he started to prophesy, and we see in Revelation, the 13th chapter, he saw a vision of a great beast. Take a look at this clip of the vision that John saw.
Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Verse 2. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. And all the world marveled and followed the beast. So they worshipped the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
All right, so there's the vision that John saw. We see the components of the 4 beasts of Daniel 7 in this beast of Revelation, the 13th chapter. It says, I saw a beast out of the sea, 7 heads and 10 horns, and it had the names of blasphemy. And it says, the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of the bear, and his mouth as the mouth of the lion. And the dragon gave him his power and great authority. So he had the body of a leopard, the feet of a bear, the mouth of a lion. Everything that we see in Daniel, the 7th chapter. And it had 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, when you count the heads of the 4 beasts of Daniel, we see the first beast, the lion, is 1 head. The second beast, the bear, with 1 head. Then we have the third beast, the leopard, with 4 heads. And then we see the last beast, the indescribable beast, the Roman Empire, with 1 head. And that is 7 heads and 10 horns. So what we see here in Daniel, the 13th chapter, is a combination of all 4 beasts into 1 beast. And as we see in history, and as it says in Daniel, the 7th chapter, that this 4th beast devoured the previous beasts before it. And what the Roman Empire did was incorporate the strongest aspects of the Greeks, the Persians, the Babylonians, and incorporated it into the Roman Empire. It had the speed and cunning of Greece, which is the leopard, the strength and cruelty of Persia, which is the bear, and the majesty and pride like Babylon, the lion. So here we see in Revelation, the 13th chapter, here we see this beast, and it is the Roman Empire. Now, the reason why Daniel saw 4 beasts and John saw 1 beast is for the simple reason that in Daniel's time, none of these kingdoms had conquered one another, and so they are portrayed separately. But in John's time, the Roman Empire absorbed them all, and all their enemies were destroyed. And this is why we see 1 beast in Daniel's time. So the beast of Revelation, the 13th chapter, is the Roman Empire that ruled from 31 BC to 476 AD. Now it says that this deadly wound was healed. Of course, the fall of the Roman Empire in 476 AD, it was a deadly wound. It looked like the Roman Empire was gone, it was dead, but the deadly wound was healed. What does that mean? Well, when I come back, we'll show you the deadly wound that was healed and the symbolism of the 10 horns on the final head of that beast of Revelation, the 13th chapter.
The richest, most powerful group of nations on earth, the United States and British Commonwealth, are part of one of the most mysterious puzzles of all time. The prophecies of the Bible mention such small nations as Libya, Syria, and Ethiopia, but they seem to omit all reference to our peoples. How could such important nations be left out of inspired prophecy? This mysterious puzzle is unraveled in the full-length book, The United States and British Commonwealth in Prophecy. This book reveals the true identity of our peoples from the pages of your Bible, and yet it goes beyond past history and shows you what to expect in the future. For your free copy of The United States and British Commonwealth in Prophecy,
log on to our website at britishisrael.ca for your free download.
In 476 AD, the Roman Empire fell, and it seemed dead and gone, but then it was revived by Justinian. Justinian revived the Roman Empire and called it the Holy Roman Empire. But before that, there was a transition that took place. They called it the Transition Age, from the Old Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire. In those years, from 476 AD to 554 AD, during those years, 3 kingdoms took over the Roman Empire, and they were governments in Rome, but they weren't Roman governments, and they call this the Transition Age. Now we get back to Daniel, the 7th chapter, and here we see on the head of the Roman Empire, it says a little horn came up from among them, and it says that it plucked up the first 3 horns by the roots. Now, who is this little horn? It says it was diverse from the other horns. Who is this little horn? Well, we find that this little horn is the Pope in Rome. When the Roman Empire fell, the popes, because of the whole Arian controversy about God and so on, the popes wanted the Vandals, the Ostrogoths, and the Heruli to be plucked out of Europe. And that's exactly what happened. In 554 AD, Justinian made sure that the Vandals, the Ostrogoths, and the Heruli were plucked up by the roots, and there's no evidence of them anywhere in Europe. So these first 3 horns were plucked up by the roots. They were governments in Rome, but they weren't Roman governments. And this is what they call the Transition Age. And so Justinian made sure that these first 3 kingdoms were plucked up by the roots, and then he restored the Roman Empire and called it the Holy Roman Empire. So this little horn that plucked up the first 3 by the roots is the Pope in Rome. And then it says in verse 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom. So the Roman Empire fell, and out of this kingdom came 10 horns, and the first 3 were plucked up by the roots, are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, or as it should read, in their midst, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And that's exactly what happened in history. Plucked up the first 3 by the roots, and then reigned with the last 7. We see a little horn with 7 horns, and when we get to Revelation, the 17th chapter, here we see a beast, and it has a woman arrayed, verse 4, in purple, scarlet color, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And on her forehead was mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, the abominations of the earth. I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints, with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And this is how we know this is the Pope in Rome, the little horn, because it says this little horn would speak, verse 25, great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and he thinks to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until time, times, and a dividing of a time, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion. This is going to happen. This beast, these 10 horns, are going to reign all the way till the time of the second coming of Jesus Christ. Here we see a woman on a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman is a symbol of a church. It persecutes the saints of the Most High. The little horn persecutes the saints of the Most High, and it reigns with the last 7 horns, which corresponds to the 7 heads of Revelation, the 17th chapter. And obviously, these 10 horns do not correspond to the 10 toes of Daniel 2. But it corresponds to these 7 heads with the woman, and it says that these 7 heads, it says, here is the mind and wisdom, the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. They are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come, but when it cometh, it must continue a short space. So obviously, these are successive empires. These last 7 horns, which are the 7 heads, are successive empires of Rome. They are successive. They come one after another. It says 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come, but when it cometh, it must continue a short space. So these 10 horns, 3 are plucked up by the roots, and then we have 7 are the successive revivals of the Holy Roman Empire. And we see in history, we see the imperial restoration under Justinian in 554 AD. And then we see the Carolingian Empire. Charlemagne was crowned in 800 AD. Then we see the Holy Roman Empire under Otto the Great in 962. The Habsburgs in 1530. We see the Napoleon Empire in 1804 to 1814. Then we see in 1870, Garibaldi united Italy. And of course, the fascists took over. And then we see in Germany, we see Hitler. And they had the Axis powers of World War II. And as it says here, it's portrayed as mountains. And mountains rise, peak, and fall. And it peaked during the time of Hitler and Mussolini during World War II. And now we're on the downward slide. The EU is a remnant of the old Axis powers of Hitler and Mussolini. We've proved it time and time again on our YouTube channel that the EU is a Nazi Plan B. And this is where we are right now. We are on the downward slide of the 6th mountain. As it says, 1 is, there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is. John was projected forward into time to the time of the 6th head of the beast. 1 is. And this is where we are right now. The EU is the 6th head of the beast, the mountain, the downward slide of that mountain. And the EU is going to come to an end. NATO is going to come to an end because we're at the feet, which has the potter's clay. And what is the potter's clay? The house of Israel, Jeremiah the 18th chapter, verse 4. So here we see NATO and the EU at the feet. And that is going to come to an end. And then we're going to have the iron mixed with miry clay. That will be the 7th and final resurrection of the Roman Empire. And of course, the woman is going to ride that beast. So it's going to be an Axis power again with the beast, the woman, and the miry clay, which we have identified as the North African, Black African nations. So this is what it means by the 10 horns of that last beast. They will come out of the old Roman Empire. 3 are plucked out, and then we have 7. The 7 are the successive revivals of the Roman Empire, and the last horn will be a 10-nation combine, possibly called a United States of Europe, as it says. Let me go back here to Revelation, the 17th chapter. It says, the beast that was and is not, he is the 8th and is of the 7th that goeth into perdition. And I show you what this scripture means in a video that I did about it, and you can check it out on our YouTube channel. It says, the 10 horns which thou sawest on the final head of this beast of Revelation, the 13th chapter, which corresponds to the 7th horn of Daniel, the 7th chapter. The 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. And then it says, these shall have one mind, and shall give their power and strength to the beast. And these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords, King of kings, and they that are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. So here we see the last head of this scarlet beast of Revelation, the 17th chapter. The last head is a 10-nation combine, and they give their strength and power to the beast, and they're going to fight Christ at his coming. So here we see the legs of iron down through history. Then we get down to the feet and an added material to it, which is the potter's clay. And of course, that's where we are right now. The iron with the potter's clay, which is the EU and NATO. As it says, the kingdom shall be divided. And that will come to an end, and then will come, and that's the 6th head of the beast, of this beast of Revelation, the 17th chapter. Then that will come to an end, and then will come the final rise, the 7th and final rise of the beast, the Holy Roman Empire. And that final head will be a combine of 10 nations, and they will fight Christ at his coming, and they will be mixed with miry clay. Now, if you want to know more in great detail, I urge you to log on to our website, britishisrael.ca, and order our booklet, Who is the Beast of Revelation. I'll put the link in the description below, and you can order it directly from there. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And also, if you want to, join the membership program that we have here on YouTube, and that will, of course, support this YouTube channel as well. This is Peter Salemi saying goodbye, friends. I'll see you here next time on the Watchman program.